Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Wrestling Prime. I am your host, Tom Dog, and we are continuing. We are finishing up our two-part Wrestle Mania review. I know I'm a little bit late on doing part two. I was a little bit under the weather again. Never fails in my life. So, but yeah, this is going to be a very interesting review, to say the least. I even had to go back, while I was sick. I even had to go back and watch the second part over because I really wanted to see this. Make sure that I got the proper grade that I wanted to give out and everything. And I'm going to be going back and forth to the reviews that I did with that I give from the last review. So it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, to see how it compares between the two matches, and one match in particular that a lot of people are still hazing about. And so yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started with this. So the kickoff match was excuse me, was Natalia versus Liv Morgan. A decent. It was a good match. Not really much to go home. It was like a classic one-on-one match that you would see, like on Raw or SmackDown. But nonetheless, it was it was still a good match. Nothing really to write home about, and I love matches like that, and I think it would have delivered if there was an audience, and we will get to that eventually. And however, I give this grade a solid B. Very different than to what I gave the last on the first kickoff, but it's still passable. It's still passable. So WrestleMania 6 Part 2 opens up, and it was the NXT Women's Championship, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. It was a good opener. I thought it was a really good opener. Both were on their A game and everything. They were just basically, this is like a classic WrestleMania match that you would expect to see. And I thought it was really, really interesting to see that. And Charlotte puts on the finisher, wins the NXT Women's Championship, and I give this match a B plus. This was a really good, this was, as I said, a really good match. A lot of people are upset about the fact that Charlotte's an NXT champion and everything like that. Look, I get it, but if anybody's going to be breaking her father's championship record, which still holds up, it's probably going to be her. I mean, she's a Flair, and I don't have a problem with that. I like the direction that they're going, in spite with what's going on, and she's A lot of people are saying, "Oh, she's stepping down because it's NXT." Far from it. I think we're gonna see a lot of um, new new advances for the women from NXT to transition over to the main roster. And if anybody's going to push young talent into, if anybody's uh willing to push young talent from NXT to move over to the main rosters, I don't see a problem with it. I really don't, and I absolutely love the direction that they're going. And so yeah, Charlotte's going to be champion for a while, and we're going to see what happens later on. Now I know as I'm filming, NXT already happened, and I didn't even bother to watch it. Um, so yeah. um, so Aleister Black taking on Bobby Lashley. It was decent for what it was. Um, gave Aleister Black a good push um, in the company. He's been actually doing pretty well for himself. And Bobby Lashley um, is spiraling downward, especially with that, with the relationship he has with Lana, and it showed because she got up on the apron and trying to cause a distraction and everything like this, and trying to cause a distraction, and it didn't work, and so it's pretty crazy. I think what they need to do is they need to split them, because it's actually not working for Bobby, and I kind of feel bad because I do like Bobby Lashley. We all love Bobby. Um, we all love Bobby. So, um, but in seriousness, though, I mean, Bobby Lashley, I was kind of hoping that since he returned, that he would get like more. This is how boring I feel about Bobby Lashley now. you know, when he returned, I was kind of hoping for him to be um a you know a main event um roster guy, and but they're making him out to this to be mid card mid card, especially now that he's you know slowly turning into a mid card jobber, and I I don't like where they're going with this. Um, I'm not saying that this match was horrible per se. I just think that this match could have been a lot better than what it was. Um, if it was just Bobby out there without Lana in his corner, I would have been okay with it, and it would have been I would have given them the grade a little bit higher than what I'm about to give it, and that's a B minus. I think it would have been a step in the right direction if it would have been like a B plus at best. Um, if Lana wasn't there, because she did cause a distraction, but it was against the wrong, it was on the wrong guy, and it it lost Bobby's focus, and he wound up losing the match, and and I think that Bobby needs to step away from you know that that relationship that he has with Lana. I'm not saying they should break up, even though I wish they would, but but at the same time, I don't want, but maybe just have her, do something, or put Lashley in a position where he's going to have to finally say, "Look, Lana, I don't want you out there when I'm wrestling." you know, I could have won I could have won this match at WrestleMania, and you distracted me, and I would have, I probably would have won if you hadn't jumped on the apron, that sort of thing. Which that's true. He could, he probably could have won the match if Lana didn't botch it up, I guess you can say. But there is one match that didn't botch, and that was Dolph Ziggler versus Otis. And I actually enjoyed this match. They've been building up the storyline since February, going all the way back to January when Otis was having a thing for Mandy Rose, and this match was great. It was it was a classic WrestleMania storyline match because the announcers were telling the story. It was perfect all around. I feel kind of guilty giving it a B plus because it was better. Maybe I'll step it up to an A minus. That's how good I think that it was. And you know what? I am going to change that to an A minus now that I thought about it. It was classic. It was classic. Storyline. Mandy Rose's friend turning on her, turning on Mandy, the whole build up, and then, Mandy finally getting revenge for what happened. Otis wins. He goes home with the girl. They kiss. It was such a moment, and that was a good WrestleMania moment right there. I really would have loved to see this match with an audience, in spite of what's going on, because I really wanted to feel that emotion with the crowd, because I think this would have been a good tearjerker. I think it would have, you know. But yeah, this it would have shed a tear. It would just give me a tear, but it wouldn't be like, it wouldn't be like on Macho Man level. It wouldn't be like last year with Kofi winning the championship. It wouldn't be like Shawn Michaels super kicking Ric Flair in his very last match. That sort of thing. But I would have gotten teary eyed. And I'm a stickler for WWE emotion, and this was the perfect match. So A minus goes to this match right here. I absolutely loved it. And then we get into one where I really did get kind of emotional, and this was Edge versus Randy Orton. I'm giving it an A minus for this match. The reason why I give it an A minus and not a solid A like I wrote down on my sheets is because of the fact that this match was too long. And it could have been better if it was dumbed down, a little bit, but I get it. It was still a good match. There were some good spots, especially from Edge that he did. Using his environment to, both using their environment to their use, and it was actually really good, but it just kept on dragging and dragging and dragging. I just wanted this match to be, to be cut down like a little bit, like a little bit less. I think it would have been, you guys have an editing staff. obviously this match was taped. They could have broke it down a little bit less, especially when you had one cameraman running to get it in place, especially that one spot where the cameraman was in the way and got knocked over, and then another cameraman was running from one other side down to that area. You should have broken that down. I'm just saying. You have a good production team, and your editing staff is good too. But they dropped the ball on this one. They really, really did, and that's why this match could have been a lot better. But the ending was emotional. This match was really, really emotional. To be quite honest with you, and so the ending, the ending was perfect. Um, and you see that look of emotion, that look of emotion on Edge's face. Is he going to concerto Ed? Is Edge going to concerto Randy? And he's thinking about it, but then he's like, "Screw this! I'm gonna go for it anyways." That right there, um, made it for what it is, and but yeah, A minus, A minus. I'm not saying that this match was horrible. Far from it. This match was actually, as I said, was very, very good. Um, However, the time and the cinematography in this match was too long. Did not need this match to be as long as it should. Maybe maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15, but I think it was like a 20-minute match. No, 15, 10, 15 tops. Somewhere between 10 and 15 would have been better. Would have been better. Pushing 10. Pushing 10. Just to give the benefit of the doubt. So for a palate cleanser, Gronk is Rob Gronkowski is now the new 24/7 champion. Um, I'm not rating this because it was just a palate cleanser. Nothing really spectacular to write home about. However, I will say that one spot that Gronk did do off of the platform, that was actually really really cool, especially with all the other superstars on the bottom, and Mojo was actually just was right there to get pinned. So that was actually pretty good, but does it deserve a rating? No, it doesn't. It was just a filler. So I don't rate fillers. So especially when it was just that, it's just that. If it was like a longer match, I would just say yeah. I would say yeah. Unless of course it was a schedule, match, and there, Gronk became champion. Gronk became 24/7 champion within 5 seconds. Then I would have given that match a C minus. Really. But there is one match that did get a C plus, and that was the Street Profits taking on Austin Theory and Angel Garza. Um, it was a decent match for what it was. I just wasn't really invested into this match as much as I should have. I did watch it, unfortunately. I'm kidding. No, I did watch it, and I just thought, it just, because of the change in the opponents, um, because I think Andrade was the one that got hurt. I believe. I think he was put on the shelf for a while. Um, but it was really, really good. Um, for what it was, and it was just like, and then of course Selena Vega gets involved at the end of the match, and Bianca Belair comes for the save. So it looks like there's going to be some sort of chemistry between um Bianca and the Street Profits. From what I heard, um one of the members of Street Profits, I forgot their names, I do apologize for that, is married to Bianca. So that's a pretty good fit, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see what happens um, as this continues. But it was a very, it really was an okay match. Was something that could have been done on a house. This was like house show material. That's why it gets a C plus. Um, not one of my best matches on this card. I mean, I'm not saying that it was horrible, and far from it. It was it was good for what it was. As I said, I just wasn't invested into this match. But there was one match that I was invested in, and that was Bayley taking on Sasha, taking on Lacey Evans, and taking on Tamina and Naomi. Um, I was not aware of the. I was unaware about the style of the match, which was an elimination match. Um, so yeah, I completely forgotten that it was a an elimination style match. So I'm saying to myself, okay, so Tamina gets pinned, and I thought the match would be over, and I was wrong. Obviously, for what it was, I was wrong. But I was, um, so yeah, so for what it still was a good match. Um, Tamina was the first to be eliminated, followed by Naomi, and then Sasha Banks, um, got eliminated after a little incident. We thought that Sasha and Bayley were going to start fighting and everything like that. Um, because Bayley accidentally nails Sasha, and so what happened was, but then after Bayley sacrifices Sasha from getting beat down by Lacey Evans. But then Lacey comes around, takes out Sasha Banks. She gets eliminated. So now it's Lacey Evans and Bayley being the last two. Good between the two of them. They were really good for what it was, for how it was and everything. And Sasha comes back for the save. Um, eliminate Lacey Evans gets pinned, and Bayley retains the SmackDown Women's title. So maybe we will see something down the road, that maybe something may happen between the friendship between Bayley and Sasha. Who knows? We don't know. But for what this match was, and it was a good match, I give it a B minus. So could have been a little bit better, but still, it was good for what it was. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm taking that minus out, and I'm changing that into a solid B. Just a nice solid B match. It was really good, like I said. So yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just cleaning off my eraser here. My eraser is like really, really dirty. Anywho, So, up next was John Cena taking on The Fiend in the Firefly Funhouse match. And I don't know what I saw, but nonetheless, it was very entertaining. Um, not as entertaining as the Boneyard match that we saw the night before, on the first part of WrestleMania. Um, but for what it was good. I loved what they did with the cinematography in this, and that's what I was going for. There's been a lot of mixed reactions about how a lot of people feel about this match, and a lot of people have been asking me how I felt about this match, which is why the camera's on right now. um, this match, you know, was everything I expected it to be. Um, I knew the Fiend was going to go over. Um, because technically John Cena has been retired, because now he's becoming, he's becoming a movie star now and everything. And the promo that he gave out um before when he returned to SmackDown that night was basically for what it was. It was the fact that John Cena is um moving on with his life away from the ring. So he was basically being forward with the with the fans, and but he was still going to be at WrestleMania for what it was. And basically this was a great way for John Cena to go out. Um, was it better than the Boneyard match? No. And the grade that I give this match was a solid A. That's why. um, it was watchable, and I was very entertained. I was surprised that they got away with saying shit. I guess I could say. Like I said, I'm only allowed to say that once, so we're gonna let that slide. So I apologize for that, but one per episode. But we still say ass, damn, or hell though. But for what it was, this match was actually very, was good. I mean, if you want to call it a match, a lot of people say, "Oh, this wasn't a match. This was a skit." No, it wasn't. It was for what it was. It was for what it was. I mean, in light of these situations, would you see this if the events that were with the COVID-19 and everything, and he's a and a fanless session, I guess you could say, without an audience, would you still see would this type of match that you saw at WrestleMania on Sunday, this particular style, would you have seen that live with an audience? No, you would not. Probably this would be the only taped match if it was a live show. I'm just saying. Like if the pandemic, if this COVID virus never happened, we would be in Tampa doing the show and everything like this. Would that match still happen? Would this type of match still happen? No. It would be something totally different, and the match would suck. So, given for what it was, this was perfect. Same thing with the Boneyard match. You put the Boneyard match in a live situation, No, you put this, you put the boneyard match in that situation. Um, it would just be like a graveyard, and they would just call it a burial match. They would just have a set where there's a great a graveyard within the arena and everything. It would just suck. It would literally suck. So, given it for what it was, you still had a good you were very entertained, especially when Titus didn't know what to say after after seeing that match. So, I mean, his reaction was priceless. It really was, because I was the same way. I really was. This match was good, and you got to read between the lines about what's going on, and what's going on with John Cena. That's why it was watchable. That's why. So, yeah. But that's why it's also it gets that A, because there's no other grade to give it. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you can give it a lesser grade because it doesn't deserve it. The match sucked. I give it an F. Like I said, read between the lines, because it's like I said to this one thing in this group I follow on Facebook. John Cena's retired. He's not gonna, and everybody was expecting him to win against the Fiend. No, the Fiend is getting pushed now. Is getting pushed to be this badass. He's going to be, after Undertaker officially retires, the Fiend is going to be the next guy to take his place. So John Cena is passing that torch. He lost. He's going on to make movies. He's moving on with his life outside of the ring. He's done his job. He has nothing to prove anymore. So you throw a title on him, and that was another thing. You're going to throw a title. It's like, no, they're going to throw a title on him. No, they're not. John Cena has no intentions on getting getting a title, and also he does not want to break Ric Flair's record, because they're both tied at 16. And John Cena actually said it, that if anybody's going to break Ric Flair's record, it's going to be his daughter. So a lot of people are thinking that, are saying that, because they want a Flair beating a Flair's record. And the only person that can do that is Charlotte. She's the only one. So you don't need to worry about John Cena. He's not, he'll be there, but he's not going to be around full time. He's going, he officially said what he was going to be in the within the company. He's still in. He has a legends. He has a Legends contract. He's moving on. Whenever he's not busy, he can come over, say hi, say how everybody's doing. But he is not getting any title matches. None whatsoever. And to be honest with you, I really don't want Cena to win another belt. I really don't. So give it for what it was. I wish Cena nothing but the best in his future endeavors, and we all just got to move on. And speaking of moving on, we are moving on to the main event, and that is Drew McIntyre taking on Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. It was a good match. Only the only thing I have to complain about is that same thing with the Braun Strowman match, which was um, which was Goldberg. That there were too many finishers. Um, but in the caliber between the two of them, you had to put the finishers in there. Um, was it over? Was it a little excessive? I thought it was at times, but it was still interesting because with a guy like Brock Lesnar, we have no choice but to put finishers on Brock Lesnar to take him down, especially when you have a damn good one to take out a guy like Brock Lesnar. So, and that is the Claymore, which was at full effect. You had to do whatever it takes to take Brock Lesnar down. And if using your finisher is the only way to do it, then do it. And I just feel that we could have had a nice send off with Drew McIntyre in front of an audience doing that, but as I said, it is what it is, and I'm sure somewhere down the line he will have that moment where he'll be in front of a crowd and saying I'm glad, thank you and all that, do the celebration and everything. And so Drew McIntyre, as I said, um, won the championship. I give the match an A minus, but um, you know, it could have been it could have been better. Well, actually, no, scratch that. I'm not giving it an A minus. I'm joking. Solid A, solid A. A solid. I think a solid A would be suffice. If there was like a roar of the crowd, and I think this match would have been on a lot longer, then I would have given this match an A plus. But in light of these circumstances, I have to call it the way I see it, and this was good. Um, this was really really good for what it was. Um, the right guy won. Um, Finishers all over the place. That was nothing really to write home about, but it was still good, and you can't help but love that. Um, a little bit of a side note on that a little bonus that happened at WrestleMania that they showed on Raw on Monday, which was another reason why I did this video, and I'm pretty much glad I didn't do one on Sunday because of the fact that um, Big Show showed up, and he he cha- um he challenged Drew McIntyre after he won for the WWE Championship, and so it was kind of out of left field and everything like that. Finally, Drew said, "Okay, I'll go," and he fought the belt shortly after, and he retained. So, in light of that um, bonus match for WrestleMania, I give it a B minus. So yeah, um, kind of out of left field. So I mean, was the match horrible? Not even. The match was actually really good. Um, so yeah, so a little bit of a bonus. So that's why I'm including that match into this video, and that is WrestleMania 36 Part 2. Um, the official grade for for Part 2 is a B plus. Um, the match, the matches were good, as I said. Um, nothing really bad to talk about, except of course, um, the what I will say, the best match of the night, um, has to go with um, and it's a tough one. It really is, especially with the grades that I gave them. Um, because I actually I actually was entertained with a lot of these matches, and the one that really sticks out to mind of being the best match, um, in light of the things that I said about the Edge and Randy Orton match, I have to give it to Edge and Randy. Um, like I said, would have been a lot better if it didn't drag out. I you know I will say that. Um, and the worst match of the night goes to the Street Profits taking on Austin Theory and Angel Garza. Um, like I said earlier, I wasn't invested into that match. I wasn't really paying attention to that match, um, but was it a horrible match? No, not even. But it could have been a lot better. Um, I will say the WrestleMania moment for part two of WrestleMania 36 has to go to Otis. That's what I think. That was a WrestleMania moment right there. Um, you know that match told the story, did what it was supposed to do, and Otis got the girl, and it was awesome. It really was. It was really emotional. Um, so yeah. um, so yeah. How does this compare to part one? I believe part one was better as far as um production goes. Um, my favorite match from part one, as I said, was of course the Boneyard match. I love the cinematography in that match. I don't give a damn what anybody says, but um, it is what it is. um, so my final thought, as far as this now, I know I said some things a few weeks going a few weeks ago of what I thought of of Vince's decision to do what he did, and that was to continue on with WrestleMania. And as I still stand by to some of the things that I said, as far as agreeing with Jim Cornette, um, which I still do. There could have been some people on the sidelines cheering. You know, you had a production team. There was a production team in there. Put them to work instead of just. They could have just been the audience. I mean, we saw a production. We did see a production team on where the audience would be sitting, and you had a big production staff. And to be quite honest with you, they should have gotten they should have had an interaction. I'm just saying. Could have had them cheering. Could have had them doing what they could have had say, hey, listen, I know we don't have, Vince could have been like, listen, I know we don't have an audience, but I want, since you guys are going to be out here with the lighting and everything like that, and and the editing and whatnot, what I want you to do is be an audience. They could have easily done. They could have easily been an audience. I mean, when I saw the Last Man Standing match and both Randy and Edge were on the outside, there seemed to be a lot of people that could have made some noise. I'm just saying. So, um, but I am glad that WrestleMania did happen. I am glad. Um, it it was for what it was, and I enjoyed it. Um, Maybe I was a little bit too harsh on the things that I said about Vince McMahon in regards to how I felt that maybe you shouldn't be greedy and just postpone it for like another month, and just postpone it till May, or maybe even at the end of the month when things will probably get back to normal. But you know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe and for that part, I will apologize. But as I said, the production staff could have been more invested instead of just being the correct, instead of just doing their job as a production staff. Those guys should have made some noise. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. Would have been good. But you know, but I'm glad that WrestleMania happened. Um, I was entertained by the show. It exceeded my expectations because this was a huge gamble. This was a huge gamble, and I can understand Vince's frustration on a business level because of that. Because this is WrestleMania, you know, as I said before, this is Vince's baby. He came up with WrestleMania, and it was a good match for what it was. Excuse me. Don't worry, I'm not sick again. Don't worry. But for what it was, it was good, and I enjoyed it. I was entertained, and I'm looking at it, and on a business standpoint, I'm glad he made the right decision. But on a personal standpoint, I still stand by that he probably should have postponed. You know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong, but still, I probably would have been right if, and of course, a lot of people would have been right if 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 this didn't work. I'm just saying, because a lot of people were invested in the show. A lot of people loved the matches, and they had to do he had to do what he had to do, and for that I applaud Vince. So um so I'm looking forward to see what happens. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to see what happens next, which is Money in the Bank. What's going to happen, we don't know. So we will move. I'm sure we're going to be moving forward, and we'll be entertained for sure. And that's my final thought. With that being said, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you all so much for allowing me into your home. or mobile phone, whatever, no matter how you're watching, as long as you're at home being safe. Um, that's important. So, um, be sure to follow me on Twitter at TomDog247. And if you missed any of tonight's review, you can check it out as soon as I turn off the camera. Um, Thumbs up the video if you like it. Comment down below what you thought of WrestleMania 36, both parts 1 and 2. What was your favorite match? What was your favorite moment? WrestleMania moment, overall. And just want to hear what you have to say. Ring the bell to stay notified of what I'm going to be doing next. And if you want to have yourself a WrestleMania moment, all you have to do is lay the smack down on that subscribe button. Till next time, this is Tom Dog saying, take care, so long, peace.